It was supposed to be a quiet weekend. My wife and I had planned to grill on the porch, maybe take the horses down to the creek. Instead, I woke up Saturday morning to loud music, laughter, and the clinking of champagne glasses. I walked outside, confused, and followed the noise. That's when I saw it. My back patio, my private patio, covered in white folding chairs, flower arrangements, and a giant banner reading, "Congratulations, Jessica and Todd." First, I thought I was dreaming. But then I saw her, Karen, standing there in a sparkly dress, waving her arms like she owned the place. "Karen," I shouted. "What in the hell are you doing on my property?" She turned all fake smiles. "Oh, good morning. Don't worry, it's just for a few hours. The HOA approved a community wedding here since your patio has the best view. You should be honored." I blinked. "Honored? This is trespassing." She waved me off. "Relax. You've got plenty of land, you won't even miss it. Besides, it's for love. Don't you support love?" Guests were filing in with gift bags and champagne bottles, making themselves at home on my property like it was a rented venue. Karen strutted around giving orders, completely ignoring me. Well, what she didn't know was that patio wasn't just a slab of concrete. A year ago, after dealing with constant trespassing, I'd had a little fun installing something special. A custom hydraulic tilt mechanism under the foundation. It was originally meant as a deterrent for unwanted parties, and today seemed like the perfect time to put it to the test. I walked back inside, calm as ever, while Karen barked orders outside. "Set the cake over there. Oh, and someone move those tacky ranch chairs out of the way." I opened the hidden control panel in the laundry room, flipped a switch, and watched through the window. First, nothing happened. Then the patio gave a subtle lurch. A few guests stumbled. Karen frowned, tapping her heels like the ground had betrayed her. Then, whosh, the entire patio tilted about 20 degrees, sending chairs sliding, champagne glasses crashing, and the three-tier wedding cake tumbling onto the grass. Guests screamed and scrambled like ants on a seesaw. Women clutched their dresses, men lost their balance, and a whole row of folding chairs clattered into the flower beds. Karen shrieked, "What is happening?" I stepped outside, arms crossed. That's what happens when you hold an unauthorized wedding on a ranch that isn't yours. She tried to regain her balance, wobbling in high heels. "Why, you sabotaged this. You're ruining the most important day of their lives." I smirked. "No, Karen. You ruined it the second you thought you could use my property without asking." Guests fled toward the road, covered in frosting and flower petals. The bride and groom looked mortified, their big day destroyed before it even began. Karen, however, was still yelling, threatening lawsuits, screaming about emotional damages. That's when the sheriff's cruiser rolled up. Not the first time they'd been called thanks to Karen. "Sheriff," I said, "glad you're here. Found an unauthorized wedding on my patio. Trespassing, theft of use, property damage, you name it." The deputy surveyed the wreckage and sighed. "Karen, we warned you about this. You can't just host events on someone else's property." "But it's just a patio," she whined. "He doesn't even use it half the time." The deputy shook his head. "Doesn't matter. If it isn't yours, you can't use it." The bride and groom stormed off, swearing they'd never speak to Karen again. The guests followed, muttering about lawsuits. Not against me, but against her. Karen was left standing there, covered in frosting, mascara running, shoes ruined. Her perfect community wedding turned into a disaster. I flipped the patio back to normal and looked her dead in the eye. "Karen, you're lucky I didn't press charges. But if you step foot on my land again without permission, that tilt will be the least of your worries." She sputtered, too humiliated to answer, before stomping off toward her HOA enclave. That night, I sat on my restored patio, grilled some steaks, and raised a glass with my wife. We laughed at the thought of Karen explaining to the HOA how their big wedding turned into a carnival ride. Sometimes revenge doesn't need lawyers or cops. Sometimes all it takes is a little engineering and the perfect moment to flip the switch.